And city council meeting. Let records show that everybody's here and we're reasonably well fed. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to interview city council candidates. And so what I've done is I put some possible questions out in front of you. So we'll just go around the room. When we get here, you can ask anything on here or anything you want. We have 20 minutes for each person to do this. And after we've done about 20 minutes, we'll let the other person do it, and then we'll we'll go to making a decision. Does that sound like an okay thing? And these are only suggestions. I'll just kind of provide an orientation and get started, and we'll go from there. Does that sound okay? Yes. Everybody happy? All right, and I want to just take a moment and thank Jason for bringing down the camera so that folks can watch this if they care to, and we'll do that. So I think we have Jennifer here. Jennifer.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Is that okay with you?
Sure.
So I think we're reasonably on time, on target. And if that's okay, feel free to step up.
Great.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for your interest in our community. And just to kind of review what we're going to do, we have seen your written presentation. And so we're going to spend 20 minutes. But why don't you take a couple minutes, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then why don't you just tell us a little bit about why you're interested in being on the Independent City Council meeting. So a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the Independent City Council. And Jennifer, to you.
Great. First of all, thank you for having me here. I feel very grateful that I was honored to be given an interview. My name is Jennifer, and I am a single mom that's lived here in Independence for about 22 years now. I love Independence and how small town it is. So I know that many of you may not be aware, but Diana and I are actually related. in some small twist of fate, that's how small town things happen. I'm interested in serving on council for a variety of reasons. One, no offense to anybody sitting in front of us, but I feel like we need a little bit more diversity on city council. We have an amazing Latino population in town, and it's really unfortunate, not that all of y'all aren't wonderful people, but that somebody isn't sitting up here with us. I also think that I would bring a different perspective. I'm up with a younger age demographic. I see what's going on in Independence. I hear a lot about people's frustrations on social media, what they think is happening in the city versus what they think is not. And I think that it would bring a new, fresh perspective to the council.
Great, thank you. And if we don't, should we just go around the room this way? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Would you tell us about what you've done in community activities up till now?
So as far as community activities, a majority of my time has been spent inside the schools. I have a young child that went to Independence Elementary School. And one of the big things while she was there was working with the school district and the city as far as getting crossing guards. The intersection of 4th and B, and I believe it's 3rd and B, sometimes can be quite dangerous. There have been multiple times that I sat out there waiting for my daughter to cross and thought, oh, nobody's gonna stop for her, or she was almost hit coming off of her crosswalk. And so they have instituted a volunteer policy where volunteers go out. They have crossing guards now. My daughter no longer goes to IES because of her age, but there have been multiple times at my parents' house close to that intersection that I've seen the program still working. And it's really refreshing to know that our kids can cross back and forth. In downtown, and especially Old Town, the streets are quite small, and it's hard when there are people parked on one side, cars getting in and out.
So what are some of the challenges you think that the city needs to address that maybe council is not aware of?
So from a perspective that the council is not aware of, I'm not sure what you guys are aware of and not. I would say one of the biggest things that you hear about on social media and that people talk about is downtown parking. We have this amazing downtown. We have this hotel going in and some really great opportunities to showcase what Independence has to offer, but not if they can't find a location to park. So I think that it's a two-step thing. I know Representative Evans is working on a bill in the legislature right now around a Frawley concept. If we could find a central parking location that Frawley trolley can run back and forth and make it easier to access downtown and what we have to offer, whether it be, you know, going to the hotel for a little bit or going out to wine country. If that's an option, it might help alleviate that.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
I live across the street from Jennifer's parents, and I'm one of those people that almost hits the kids all the time. You talk a lot in your application about your daughter and the kind of future you'd like to see for your daughter here. Speaking about the Latinx community and your daughter's future here in Independence, what do you see for her, and how would you like her future to unfold?
So my daughter is half Latina. She's half Hispanic. And I think that we need to find ways, not just for Latina children, but children across, to explore their roots and what's going on in Independence. Independence has a rich history, whether it be people coming in for migrant work, and I think that we need to look at making Independence a better place for them. I know that we have a lot of things going on with the hotel and those type of things, but we haven't ever, maybe we have, but I'm not aware of us ever looking at a partnership with some community organizations, maybe a kids' night. It's not just that we have this great downtown, but we have locals in our town that may not have daycare, may not have a place where their children can go, or maybe in a situation where my daughter's 14 and it needs to be really cool for her to go somewhere. And if we had maybe a partnership between some organizations where, you know, the Elks is opened up for a night. I know they've done that for video games, or something to expand even on the night court program that we have, to make it so the adults can take advantage as well as the children.
Okay, so you've been here for 22 years, you said?
Yes.
That's quite a while. So
yeah.
You've seen a lot of changes in this town. I think I moved here 20 years ago, so really incredible changes.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about those changes, and how do you see them affecting our city?
Honestly, I think they're really exciting. So 10 years ago, I don't know how many people knew about Independence. It wasn't something that was talked about often. And now you hear it being talked about more often in the legislature. You hear more funding opportunities being given to Independence. And I think it's really exciting that we can grow our town and take advantage of the amazing downtown that we have. We have an amazing opportunity here, and so it's been fun to see the exciting changes. It's a little odd walking into Central after their remodel, I'll be honest with you. I walked in there after the remodel and I was like, did I actually graduate from here?
So as a city councilor, what would you hope to achieve during your tenure?
I think the one thing would to increase inclusivity. Make it so we have a great deal of people coming to the council meetings and a great deal of our Latino population coming to the council meetings. One thing, I have been watching the council meetings on Facebook. There are programs that are similar to closed captioning that we could translate this into Spanish very easily for our population at home, because they may know the meeting's going on, but if there is a language barrier, it doesn't matter. If they can't understand what is happening in the meeting, it doesn't matter that they're aware that it's happening at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
So let me ask, why apply now? And we just had an election in 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a while ago.
Yes.
And, so what motivated you to apply now, and instead of being a candidate a few months ago?
So I actually thought about applying about a year ago when previous Commissioner Campos was appointed. I worked for the House Majority Office, and that is a very demanding 24/7 job. It wasn't something that I felt like I could properly give my time to, especially when you're in session. You're often working until 6, 7 o'clock at night. So those are the reasons why I didn't apply previously or run. I made a career change in December, which has moved me to a more 9-to-5 job, so to say, which would allow more time for me. My child's also gotten older and unfortunately needs me less.
We have a meeting at the high school once a year. I don't know if we've had them long enough for you to have participated in that or not. But it's been 13, 14
This will be
years
our
or
15th
something
year,
like
yeah.
that. And this time it is next month.
Mhm.
And usually we ask a question of the kids who are there, which now is the junior, senior class that come. And at this point, the question ends up being kind of open, and the kids tell us what they'd like to see, what they'd like to have independents do. Do you have, and I know there's a youth council that's developing, but do you have any ideas about how we could get the high school kids more engaged with the city council beyond just 1 year, or one time a year?
I think that it's a twofold thing. One, I think that the younger population is automatically going to gravitate towards something fun. How you quantify that, I don't know, but it's going to need to be fun and exciting. I don't know if 6:30 at night on a Tuesday in Independence is going to be fun and exciting for them. And the second thing is, on the agendas, let's have something that's exciting them, that they're interested in working towards or making better. If they pull up the agenda and it is city council reviewing city codes or liquor license applications, they may not see that as a way to change the world, so to say. They want to see something that is exciting, headline worthy almost, that they feel is actually going to change something. They don't get down to the nitty gritty of, yes, a liquor license will change things and there are reasons for that.
Thank you.
So the city's taken on a positive posture to improve its viability, financial stability, and quality of life for its residents. What's your opinion on this policy, on what, if anything, you would change about it?
Can you read the first sentence for me again? Sorry.
Taken on a positive posture to improve its viability, financial sustainability, and quality of life for its residents. Give us your opinion on that policy.
I think it's a great policy, and I think that anytime that we can do something on the local level to help our citizens and residents, we're going to make an impact on them. There is so much uncertainty and unrest on the federal level, as we saw going through December and January, that as many services that we can supply to our residents on a local level, we're going to be better off.
I'm going to get back to your daughter again.
Okay.
Because I think, one of the voices that we rarely hear in these kinds of forums are single working moms. So I think it's an important voice to bring to City Council. How would you engage people similar to yourself? People that are wrapped up with full-time jobs and have children to take care of.
I think for me, reminding them and talking about the good things that do come out of council meetings and the good things that the city is doing. So for me, I'm not sure I could have made it through my daughter's youth years without being an independent. She took advantage of the YMCA program. She took advantage of going to school early. These were all things that were done on a local level, and those have tangible results. So I think it's a matter of to engage people my age or single working moms that are tired, honestly, and want to go home, remind them that there are tangible results. And in the end, the city is going to be what we make it for our kids. And so if we don't put a little bit of effort in now, it's not going to be what they need when they're our age.
So Independence is, I believe this is from 2017, was the fastest growing, the fourth fastest growing city in the state. What What do you think, what are the ramifications of that for the city, and what should we be focused on considering that?
So I think it's a matter of infrastructure, roads. I think that we've all seen and noticed in accidents, not directly in the city, but as we're leaving town, the intersection of 51 and 22. I think those are conversations that councils from Dallas, Independence, and Monmouth need to be having. So it's not just that it's affecting our little town, it's affecting this section of Polk County. I think it's something that we have to keep up on. We want to welcome more growth into our city and make this the best place that we can, but we also need to make sure our infrastructure is keeping up and that we have city services that can keep up with this growth.
So we've talked a little bit about, you know, the growth here in town. So in particular, the city and former councils and staff had this vision for the revitalization of our downtown. I'm sure you're aware we have the whole Independence Landing project that is going on, and that is, you know, the fruition of 20 years of effort. Is that an effort that you fully support, and can you speak to what you perceive as benefits or detriments of that project?
So it is something I fully support, and I will share a little story. A friend of mine grew up in town, moved away about 7 years ago to Beaverton, hasn't been in town for about 3 years. So she was in town last weekend, and I said, you have to come check out downtown and see all the exciting things. And as we were leaving you know, we went through by the hotel, and then we went through the park, and then we went to where the sports park is. And as we were leaving the sports park, she said, I probably wouldn't have left town had it been like this. And that said a lot, you know, just the fact that there was the running path and, you know, these other options. To me, it just struck this like, oh my gosh, this is making a huge difference. But again, I think it plays to, you know, there could be accidents. We have to deal with infrastructure, roads, those type of things when we have increased visitors coming into town.
Thank you.
You know, you've spoken a lot about your daughter, so let's jump forward a couple of years, maybe a number of years. So what do you want to be able, when she asks, Mom, when you're selected to be on the city council, Mom, what did you do? What happened? What happened because you were on the council? Talk to us a little bit at length about what you would like to be able to tell her in a way from a little bit of a little bit of distance.
Okay.
Talk to her.
So I think that my primary goal that I would want to be able to tell her is that we increased community participation, primarily amongst the Latino community, and also amongst millennials, whether that be the high end of millennials at my age or the very, very low millennials that are just coming up. And secondly, I would hope to tell her that I was able to make a small impact on Independence, whether it be through passage of, you know, some sort of mechanism to help the funding with the trolley or that type of thing, but some little impact that I can come back to town or drive through town in 25 years and say, I remember that, and it feels great that it's working.
Could you, if I may follow up?
Yes.
What kind of an impact? I mean, let's take it from the here, and can you put some more depth to that? And what kind of impacts would you like to see? Do you have ideas and projects or things that are striking you?
I think the biggest idea and something that we need to focus on is the downtown parking situation. With all of the amazing things that are going in downtown, where are we going to have these people park in a way that these businesses are still going to be visited and used? There are a lot of fun businesses on Main Street right now, and I did drive around the block 4 times the other night to go to Jubilee because I wanted to go to Jubilee. And so I think that we need to find a place that we can park these people and then get them back and forth so they can do that and not have to drive around. I will admit, had it been raining like it is lately, I probably wouldn't have driven around 4 times, but.
Others? Go ahead.
I have one more.
Please.
One of the first things you said when you sat down was inclusion.
Yes.
Now, we have a community liaison officer, and some other activities have been going on. What are we not doing yet that we should be?
So the one thing that I mentioned was, of course, looking into a closed captioning system that will do the closed captioning in Spanish. I'm saying closed captioning because it's that type of a system. And I also think that we could easily be putting Facebook posts in Spanish as well. I know that we have a variety of translation programs, and I'm sure we have a handful of volunteers that would be able to help us do that. Because again, it's not just a matter of telling people when it is. If they don't have the tools to read the documents or know what's being said in this room, they're not going to come. And so I think it's a matter of how do we reach out to those individuals, or how do we reach out to, you know, my neighbor that only speaks Spanish but wants, you know, to put some sort of 2-hour parking in, or, you know, wants a vinyl fence versus a wood fence. Like, how do we bridge that gap so he has this as an option to come to?
Go ahead.
Tom, do you have anything like that?
You spend a lot of time volunteering with schools, school district. Can you think of some ways that we can better partner with the school district or help each other out somewhat?
I think that kind of goes hand in hand with Counselor Morton's question about how we engage the high school, and I'm not sure if it's a matter of counselors doing visits to the schools and sitting down and talking to them, letting them know why we're here and what we do. When I was at Central, I was on a sports team. We wanted to have a camp. Our camp sold out because we went to teen time every day that week and talked to the kids and got the kids excited about what we were going to do at Central for them to go home. And so I think it's a matter of that same thing. If we get our children excited and they go home and maybe talk to their kids like, did you know that this person came and they're elected? That even makes a difference. Whether it's city council or governor, hearing an elected official has come to your classroom to talk makes a huge difference.
Do you have anything you'd like to, any last thought you'd like to leave us with?
Just thank you again for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for taking the time to come in.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Swap seats here. Good evening, how are you?
Fine.
Great, thank you for being here. We have 20 minutes, and so we're going to ask some questions, and obviously we know you, but please, fill us in greatly, and we'll just go around the room just like you saw, and we'll go from there. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. I'm just getting ready to retire in 2 more months.
Okay.
And so I was a counselor for a long time, and I've been thinking about erasing all this out of my mind and go toward volunteering with Polk County. And I would like really much to get involved with the Oregon City League and maybe legislation. Those are some of my ideas that I'm thinking about, since I'm going to have a lot of free time on my hand.
So you kind of effectively answered my first question, why you'd like to be on the Independent City Council for at least the next 2 years. Did you want to add anything else?
I went to the meeting with WinPAC, and it was so excited. And like Jennifer said, I was thinking about suggesting that maybe we could record some activities with the Hispanic people in their businesses or whatever. But we're going to talk more about it next month in our meeting. Okay.
Thank you so much. Counselor?
Okay, I'm going to start with the question that I ended with. You've seen it from the council perspective for a lot of time, inclusion. what are we not doing that we should be doing? I know we've had one meeting at the Catholic Church, and I know that there's a fiesta or a community fiesta downtown, but we're somehow missing the mark on getting folks to come to meetings and participate. So what do we need to do differently?
Well, in the first place, how I see it is that the population is growing every single day, and the city staff is kind of small, and they really don't have the time to go out and meet other people, or the counselors. You know, we're volunteers, and sometimes we don't have enough time to go out, reach out to other businesses, churches. We do that meeting at the school, but still it's not enough because, you know, we're growing. The census is coming up on 2020, and so it's really hard, even though, you know, we really inside of us would like to do something about it, but how can we get other people to help us out? That's another thing that I was thinking about. If we could buddy up with another person and say, okay, you take that section of the town and you take that section and talk about it and see what are their needs and what they would like to see. And then another thing is parking. And it's really hard to go and visit those businesses because where do you park? Is there enough handicap spaces for people to park and join the activities? It's a big picture. And as a counselor, you know, we would like to do it, but do we have enough manpower?
Now, you talked about a lot of your, what you want to volunteer looking forward. Would you mind, because other than running
Well,
into
it's
you on
been
the
in the
weekends,
paper.
would
I
you-
get the itemizer, and then the county says, you know, we need volunteers in the jails, people visiting, homeless, house where abused kids, abused people. It's a long list. And some of the police officers would like some help too. And so it would be kind of nice to help out as much as I can, because, you know, being a Hispanic, even though I can't read and write Spanish, but I can do it verbally, and kind of try and help out those agencies as much as I can.
And how about some of your current involvements within the city? Because other than running into you on the weekends in the store occasionally, we don't get to talk.
Well, I'm involved in the Friends of the Library, and they want me to help with the museum. They need a treasure really, really bad. And so they talk to me about wanting them to help. And then I have church activities too that I would like to do. Help with the youth group. And maybe signed up for Meals on Wheels to help out, because we have some Hispanic people that elderly, and maybe they don't have anything to eat, and if I go and volunteer as a person, maybe I can take them something to eat.
Daniela, you were a counselor for many years. What do you think is your most enduring contribution over that time?
I like helping out. I like to volunteer. And I see where areas that might need help, other areas that are doing okay. Working with the Hispanic community, most of them are not educated, and most of the parents walk. And so if I help them out as much as I can, like, okay, you can go this area, and they might help you there, or I can help you out. The city is wonderful. It's a really nice place to work with. and there's so much to offer, and it's both ways. They help you and you help them. So I really enjoyed it working with the City of Independence because we're growing every day, and there's so much need in both communities, the Anglo and the Hispanic people too.
Where I was going with that is over the 11 years that you served, can you point to maybe one significant contribution from that time?
What time? What I liked the most is getting involved with the Oregon League. And that was really helpful, and John taught me into that. He says, we need volunteers in this area, and so I signed up. I had no clue what was going on. So I used to go from March to April, and that's where all the cities get together, and they talk about their problems and how they solve them. And so then I would bring that information to our city, even though, I'm not a very talkative person, but I could see, okay, this area we really need help. Because I usually signed up for transportation because that's our biggest problem, transportation. But what can we do about it? It's really heavy, and it's getting heavier every day. And so the Oregon League is what really helped me educate myself and give me knowledge to work in the city.
So you talked about maybe volunteering with the county, Polk County.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think, where do you think that the city should be working with the county more, or how we can interact better?
Well, I would find out. I would find out going
that would be probably a big help. Right?
Yeah, trying to see, okay, which group I would like to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
And then study it, and then look back into our city. Okay, this is where they need help. And maybe I can help out some of it. But first of all, I need to join those groups and see what area would I really like to help out.
Okay, thank you for being here this evening, Madam Mayor. So over the last few years in particular, the city has taken on just a really forward-moving, positive attitude toward its viability, financial sustainability, and particularly quality of life for the folks that live here. Can you share your thoughts on that policy and how, if at all, you would change that?
Good question. Would I change it? I think I think we're doing pretty good, but I don't know how I would change it.
We're on the right track.
I have to.
Here's how I take that.
Let me ask you a quick question, if I can. 2 years from now, what would you like to be able to tell people that we were able to, if you were to be placed on the council, in 2 years, what would you like to be able to tell them that you were able to help get done? What would you like to say that you helped, what you helped make happen 2 years from now?
Well, we worked on the 2020 vision, and that was a really good experience. And I would say, I don't have any kids, but I tell my grandkids, this is what we did when I first started. We had the 2020 vision, and now finally, it's finally coming to truth. The motel, and the theater, and all these things that is making Independence very active in attracting visitors. The wineries that we have, all the things that we talked about in our groups, thanks to Sean. Sean really helped a lot. And And then the Family Ford Foundation, that was another help. They had these ideas, and so we put them all together, and we're working around them. And some of them are coming out true, and some are still in the back, but hopefully pretty soon we'll finish those projects that we talked about in the Vision 2020. And I think that's what helped Independence grow quick and vibrant and exciting. And everybody talks about, oh, Independence this, Independence that. And they want to come see Independence.
Thanks for mentioning Vision 2020, because we're going to start Vision 2040 here very shortly. And I don't care how wild and crazy it is, what's your biggest vision for the future of Independence? What big thing would you like to see happen?
The thing that I see is that, we have the Hispanic businesses, and they kind of don't integrate with the rest of the town. We have the Downtown Association, and I've been out and I invited some of the Hispanic business people, even my nephew and his wife. I said, you guys need to come to the IDA meeting and present yourself and tell them what you're doing. So that way, one day, we can all work together. Which I was thinking about it. I said, it would be really nice, now that I'm not in the council anymore, to start a Hispanic one. A city council with Hispanic people. That was the thought. Because, I would like the town to be working closer together. Because if you've noticed, they have their business and they stick together. And then they really don't socialize with the rest of the town, and we're growing. And it would be kind of nice. And so I mentioned it to my nephews and other merchants. I said, you guys, do you ever think about joining Independence and letting them know what you're doing and who you are? Would you call me? Would you invite me? Would you give me a call? Let me know when the next meeting is. But that's my goal. I think Independence is wonderful to work with, and there's been a lot of changes. And I don't know. That's just my idea. But working together as a group, because the police department is really great. Really great. No, they are. They work with the people, and they have Hispanic officers and everything. Even though they tell me, why are the Hispanic officers always stopping? I said, because the city needs money. We need the money. I said, yeah, you guys, how else do they pay their wages if it isn't for the tickets? But anyway, that's another story.
Thank you.
So I was going to ask about what challenges you think the city needs to address. I think you just brought one up. How do you think we should go about addressing them?
Educating the merchants, telling them, okay, it would be nice to learn the policies and procedures of the city. I know that you're here to work, you're here to go to church, you need to know a little bit about the city, how it's run, why do they do this, and what it's for.
We don't want to put it all on them. Is there something we as the council can be doing to help?
Working together. Working together. Like I don't know, one of you said that we had meetings at the school and meetings at the church and at the Colonia Amistad, talking to those people a little bit about what is the city, what are the functions.
I'm going to ask you a question similar to one that I asked Jennifer. The voices of single working moms and working parents in general are to a large degree left out of council deliberations. How should we engage them? Do you have any ideas about how to bring them into the decision-making process?
Invitation. This is what, we're having a meeting on this. This is what we're going to talk about. Here's an invitation. Would you like to come and join us and give us your voice?
Do you have steps in mind of how we put that invitation out there? I mean, is there,
Well, if you
how do
know,
we reach them? How do we reach them?
okay, so you have a plan, and then you say, okay, this is what we're going to be talking about, and send out. Look at the areas. What areas have single parents? And reach out to that area and say, this is what we're going to be talking about. What are your needs? What can we do to help you? Here's an invitation for you to come on this day and at this hour. Could be during the afternoon, because most of the single mothers, I mean, they like to be home with their kids doing homework and all that stuff, meals. So like in an afternoon, say, okay, this is what's happening. Let's say, let's do this program at the library, because most of the people know the library, and they really enjoy it. So have it at the library and say, this is what's happening. Can you give us your feedback? How can we help you?
So up until a couple months ago, you were a city councilor.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think are some of our most immediate concerns, things that we really need to be working on? You know, we got the hotel and all that sort of thing. What do we need to be focusing on next?
Traffic. Traffic is so heavy. And you know, all those houses are coming out, and that means more cars on the road. One problem that I see is at McDonald's, the drive-through, people trying to avoid one street, and so they go by there. And you also have kids walking, and those kids are not paying attention. They walk all over the place. And as drivers, we need to be thinking, we need to be watching out for those kids, because I hope there's never an accident, but I think transportation and parking is another area. But my most concern is the kids walking to school, back and forth, and so many cars. And sometimes you wonder if that car is going to stop or not. Because, and you notice even those mothers that are walking with the strollers, they're on the phone. Excuse me, you have a kid in front of you and you're on the phone. Can't you wait until you get home? And some of the kids are walking to school and they're on their phone. I think the traffic is the most important thing for me.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. So we've talked a little bit about downtown, the revitalization of our downtown. So the urban renewal district has really been a key element in that revitalization. Do you have an opinion about that?
Yes, I do. I'm very proud of whatever businesses are coming in, and I've noticed that the tailors, some of our classmates, we had a get together there, and we talked about, because they're from all different places, and they were talking about how great Independence has become. They were thinking about coming back again and visiting all these new business that we have. And it looks more lively. And somehow I see that it's attracting a lot of visitors. All these new business that we have, and then fixing up the buildings. And I think it's just great.
Thank you.
So Diana, as kind of a closing, can you take a moment or two and tell us why you'd like to be an independent city council member?
Because it's short, it's only for 2 years. and I said, what the heck, you know, it's only 2 years, and I think I can live.
I thought you said the last time.
Anything else? You good?
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to come in. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really wonderful working with Stephen of Independence and the police department.
Great.
And Jason.
Yes, and Jason.
Don't forget the IT.
There you go. Can we take a 3 to 5 minute break and then get back? We'll recess for, let's say, 5 minutes, then we'll come back and talk and decide. Does that sound okay? Thank you. Okay, we're now back in session. So we can deliberate, we can make a motion, we can do, what is your pleasure? And we need to select a council member, and so if people want to talk about it, we can talk about it. If somebody wants to make a motion, we can make a motion. Whatever. It takes 4 affirmative to take action. So
I'll make a motion to appoint Jennifer, city councilor.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. We are now in discussion. Would anybody like to say anything?
Engagement is a really important thing for us to tackle. It's a hard problem to deal with. And I think having a single working mom, particularly a Latinx single working mom on council, will help us get where we need to get.
Please.
And another thing that I heard was that Diane is going out into the field and volunteering for all kinds of things. And I think that may be the best use right now, that we would get a lot of mileage out of that, because she has connections with the council, but she would be going into fields that we wouldn't necessarily go to, including Polk County. Although I have to tell you, I'm a dog commissioner for Polk County.
Is that congratulations?
No, I've never been.
Are there other comments anybody'd like to make?
So it's a win-win. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just want to say I really appreciate the passion that's evident and the service that's been provided. And I think our community, our city, and the larger world we work in is better because we have people who care. And that's really evident. We all bring different skill sets, and we are blessed to have people who are willing to step up and do things. If anybody doesn't have anything else to say, okay, the motion is to appoint Jennifer as the new city council member. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Jennifer, stand up here. We're swearing you in.
We have a meeting in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I hope you read the packet. Step right up here. City Recorder Johnson is going to swear you in.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jennifer Ranstrom-Smith, say on oath
I, Jennifer Ranstrom-Smith, say on oath
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
the state of Oregon,
the state of Oregon,
and the charter and ordinances
and the charter and ordinances
of the city of Independence, Oregon,
of the city of Independence, Oregon,
and that I will perform the duties
and that I will perform the duties
of the office of city councilor
of office of city councilor
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You should give a photo off upstairs.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
We're going to do a photo upstairs.
Great. Thank
Okay,
you.
we're in recess until